I'm setting up here and we will start soon. Hello and welcome to my studio. My name is Ito Agassi and today I'm going to make, it's actually some kind of a practice. What I'm going to do, the workshop season is coming up and I want to make a new workshop for making a Coptic binding. And I said I want to do just a proof of one of the bindings that we are going to do in the workshop. And that's a great opportunity to make a live while I'm folding paper, making the holes and sewing the book. If we are talking about Coptic bindings, as you can see, there's many varieties. You can do it with reused material like you see here. You can make it as a soft cover. This I made a video a couple of weeks ago about how to make, I'll open my small window here, how to make a Coptic binding with rounded corners. And you can also make a Coptic binding with a hard cover. This one is actually something that I made in my class on Skillshare about how to make a Coptic binding, more of a designed cover, hard cover. So there are many varieties of bindings that you can make. I see Sylvia is here already. Somebody from South California, so it's about 6 a.m. for you, right? I waited until it would be daytime for you. Today I started a bit more early. It's 4 p.m. here. And let me start. I'll put this aside. I'll take my beloved bone folder and I'm going to just start folding papers and making signatures. That's actually the beginning of every book, I think. I'm going to use 90-gram paper, white paper. It is very special. Is Zeta by Zanders. I'll take 4 sheets of paper. Let me see that everything is in frame and I can also work. See, everything is more or less aligned and I'm going to fold them all together. We had a very hot couple of days. So today is actually also a very hot day. That is why the air condition is on. while I'm working, I'm looking at the chat. If you want to write something, ask something, because I see that each live session changes with the questions and your comments. Have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's what I'm planning on. I'll put the extra aside, put it here. And now for this binding, what I made is I connected, you can see it here, connected this beautiful, I call it elephant skin paper. No elephant was harmed in the process. And I connected it to a paper around 216 grams. So together I think it's about 350. And what we're going to do today, what I'm going to do today, is I'm going to make a Coptic binding with a soft cover. And I will decide later on if I'm going to connect the beginning and end or just leave it open. I made a template for making the holes, and the template is going as follows. I have 1 centimeter from the edge on both sides. You have a mark, and then the rest, because this is A5 size, so this is 21. So if I subtract 2 centimeters from top and bottom, then I divided by 4, and I have 3 locations, and it is equal all around. So usually when I'm piercing the holes, what I do, let me put this as the back side, and this is at the front side. Usually when I'm making holes, I use the template, I connect it to the beginning, and when I see it is exactly at the edge, then all the holes in the book would be at the same location. So that is why I always aim to put it exactly in the same place, so everything would be aligned. Even if the template would be for some reason shorter at the end, again, if I'll put it in a straight or in the same place each time, all the holes would be in the right place, and that's very important with an exposed spine like this. So I'll go back to Hola, buenos dias, Colombia, Portugal, all over the world, amazing. So when I'm piercing holes, I'm taking my template, I'll put it, as I said, when it's straight. I'll take my awl, okay, this is used to making holes. It's a bit worn out, but it works great. The edge of the awl is sharp, but not very sharp. It's a bit dull at the edge, and then it pierces nicely. So I'm going to go from the last hole and pierce, and each time I'm closing it, so I'll have the hole exactly in the 45-degree angle. It's a bit difficult to describe how much I go inside, because what you need is the thickness of your, how do you call it, your needle that would go through with the thread. I'll put it like this. This is like this. This is, yeah, okay. Not to get confused looking at the chat and talking, and I need to be concentrating on what I'm doing. I think this is the first binding I'm doing as a live session. I hope everything will go well. And if not, I think the best things are to see all the little tips and tricks and what happens if something is giving an issue that needs to be solved. Hi, good morning or good afternoon, good night. So I have 5 holes in this binding. And if you are just joining me, today I'm making a Coptic binding with a soft cover, A5 size. And this is a mock-up or a proof copy for a workshop I'm going to start making of the Coptic binding with a bit of a different kind of binding. Usually I do it with a hardcover, and actually after making the video about the soft cover, the video about making this pocket notebook, I said to myself, this is so nice and I think much more simple than making one with a hardcover like this one. Same paper, by the way. New Haven. If you want, in New Haven, you can go to Yale University Library, and several of my books, my handmade books, are in the special collection there. So you can just jump and take a look at some of my books. This is a great opportunity to thank Moran, my son, who is the moderator of today's live. He's by the name MC Turtle King here, and he's so supportive, and he guides me how to make the lives, how to operate everything, and I see he's well in the chat also, so thank you, and I love you. Okay, let's go on. Now, if I have 6 signatures and the binding itself, I'm going to use, let me take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and a little bit more. And I'm going to cut it. Actually, I'm trying to think if I want to put some wax on it. Let me do that. Hope it won't cause any troubles. This is a bar of beeswax. As you can see, it has a lot of marks through the years. And what I do, I just put my thumb on the beeswax and just run the thread inside. And what it helps close the linen thread, and also it makes it a little bit sticky, so when you do the knots they will hold nicely. But now I need to make sure I'm just running my fingers to make sure everything is okay. What's going on here? It opens very easy, the Coptic binding. I also like the sound of the paper, Sylvia. Let me bring a piece of weight here. Where's the small one? I didn't bring it. It's in the other room. I want to make sure what I'm going to do. Let me open to this camera, and I'm going to take it back a bit, the camera. I think that would be better. It's shaking a bit. Yeah, the camera is shaking a bit. Sorry about that. And I'm going to bring my small weight that I left in the other room. I'll move for a second. Squeaking door. While I'm doing so, I'll take a sip of water. Okay, off to sewing. Didn't find my needle here. It's hiding here. I like to put it on the edge of my table. Now I'll have this small weight here, and I'm going to go out in the last station. And I'm going to hold it so it won't move. So are you ready? Let's start binding. I'll start in the first hole. Something moved here, so I'm making sure I find the hole, and then I go from here. I like to take the thread all the way, then going outside. Usually, when I'm filming my videos, I'm giving you another POV, point of view, of what I'm doing. Unfortunately, when I'm doing a live, I can't do that. So you can see from front and what I'm doing here from the overhead. I'll try to give you some zoom footage. When I'll go on, because every time the beginning is everything is moving, everything is shifting, so we need everything to be in its place. And let me go back inside the signature. With the long thread, as you can see, it could be caught in things. So the trick is to go slowly, make sure everything is as you want it to be. Pulling it a bit and going inside the signature. Each time I'm making sure I'm not going inside the thread itself. It could happen, but you need to be aware of that, because if you don't get the thread tight up until the end and you go inside the thread, then it could be a bit of a problem. But up until now, it works nicely. If I can find the hole, I just go again from the inside outside, and then I can find it more easily. Always remember, you are in charge. You are binding the book. You can move it and adjust it as you wish. I see there's something in the chat. When I finish the signature, I will take a look. Pulling it a bit. Feel that I'm outside, and I go inside the signature. If you are joining me, good morning, good evening, good night. I'm binding a Coptic binding and nearly had a catch here with the thread. So I'm binding a Coptic binding. I'm going to do it, this is A5 size, and I'm going to make it with a soft cover. And you are welcome to join me and join us in the chat. And I'll go out here. And I'll stop for a second. I'll move my camera to the upper side. Yes. What I did with the needle trick, I have a video about how to thread the needle and how to just connect it to itself so it won't get loose. You can work it with a waxed thread, but also just with natural linen thread without waxing it. It works the same. Now I'm going to go inside the beginning. Let me make the hole wider. You see the thread is twisting, so I'm just holding it and just making sure it's not twisting with itself. I think this is okay. Going to pull and pull here. Now I'll make a knot. I'm going to make an anchor here. And then my knot won't move. And I'm going to do a double knot. So this is one. And this is two. I'll cut a bit here. And we are off to the next stage. I'll work with the bone folder a bit. Let's see how the live goes about staying long. Oh, you can stay long. Okay, so hi, welcome, and stay as long as you can. I'm moving on to the second signature, which is actually the third one. We have the cover and first signature, and as I can see, it moved a bit. So again, I'm reminding myself where the hole is from the inside outside. The threaded twisting, I'll show you in a moment what I'm doing when it does that. I'll just go in and out and then I'll show you. When you have the problem of the thread twisting, what I do is I just throw it back and then just untangle it. You just throw it and do like this, and I think that would be much easier. Back to work. I'll go between the first two, pull my thread, go back, and then inside the signature. That's how you form the link stitch of the Coptic binding. What's happening here? Making sure I'm not going inside the thread itself. It's interesting to know, can you hear the sound of the thread being pulled? Because this is very satisfying sound. I'm not sure that you can hear it. We had a wonderful day today. It's very hot, but a wonderful day. And I see more people are joining, so welcome. You are joining us live, making a Coptic binding, stitching the spine. This binding has an exposed spine, And I'm actually now forming the chains that you can see afterwards on the spine of the book. And what's nice about the Coptic binding that it could be opened completely flat. But because this is an exposed spine, here it is, because this is an exposed spine, what I need to do is make sure I'm pulling each time, pulling the thread so I don't have any loose areas, so when you handle the book, write in it, you don't have a lot of gap between the signatures. But from the other hand, if you make it too tight, the forming of the chain stitches on the spine would be smaller. That is why you need to find the balance. I think like everything in life, you need to find the balance between making the thread tight, but still that the knot or the chain on the spine would be visible and nice. I'll go inside. Again, holding the thread because as you can see it's twisting a bit. I think it was a good idea to wax the thread. And now, let's see how it works. I'm going to take let's see. I want to show you how I make the kettle stitch. If you don't know what the kettle stitch is, a kettle stitch is a stitch that you make on top and bottom of the binding while you're working. Put me here. Hi. So the kettle stitch is a stitch that you put on top and bottom in every floor, every signature, joint of signature. So can you see that? I'm going between the first, yeah, you can see, the first and the cover layers, and I'm pulling the thread until I have a loop. Usually I do it at the edge of the table, but I'm trying to show you how it works. So I'm pulling the thread a bit and I have a loop, and after I have a loop I take the needle inside the loop and this forms the kettle stitch. I'm not pulling it yet. What I'm doing, I'll take it to the edge of the table. Let's go back here. I take it to the edge of the table. What's this? Just dirt. Or paper, black paper, not dirt. I don't have dirt here. What I'm talking about. I'm pulling the thread, holding the edge, and then locking the signature. Okay? So this is called a kettle stitch, and you do it on both sides. I'm moving the camera. You do it on both sides each time in the other corner. Yeah, all sounds of living things are special. Okay, about the distance, let's talk about that and what's else. About the distance between the stations. Usually let's say up to 5 stations could be okay, even if it's a big book. If it's a very large book, maybe go for 7. And you can play with it. You can do 3 with close proximity and then a gap between some. Can you see that? You can do it just, it depends on what you want. I think it more depends on the design rather than it depends on the strength of, because for this size of a book, even 3 or 4 stations would be enough, because you want the edges to hold, and you want, when you flip the book, you want to have it that it would hold in a couple of more stations. But there's no, a specific rule. I think it's more of a design choice than a technical something to decide. Okay, I hope this answers your question. Let's go on to the next station, the next signature. It's so funny. As I can see now in my screen, I have my logo on myself. Is it something that you see also? If it is, it's quite funny, I think. So I need to maybe locate myself in a different corner of the screen. Now I'm going between the second and the third. Am I right? Yes, I'm right. I know there are people that are using curved needle for stitching the book. It is helping with the process of going around the spine. But when you go inside the signature back again, it curves and sometimes it leaves marks on the signature. I rather do it with a straight needle. And I have a movement with the needle that I can catch it while I'm working. You see I'm pulling thread. There was a loose part here. There's something so relaxing with sewing. I love it, really. And if you're watching and you want to try it yourself, I encourage you to do so, because I think bookbinding is such an amazing craft or art, and you should try it. It is so, all the process of sewing and binding, working with glue, connecting everything, and then at the end you have your own creation that you can create inside if you are drawing or you are writing, or if you give it as a gift to others. It's a win-win. I'll give you again the overview. You see, I'm holding it with a straight needle and then going back. That's my trick of working with a straight needle. Forming the chain and going back inside. I'm backing up a bit because I was inside the thread, and as I said, you don't want to go inside the thread. It can cause problems afterwards. I'll go between the signatures and make a kettle stitch. Okay, let me move this and show you the kettle stitch on the other side. Here we are with our kettle stitch. I'm going inside. Can you see it? No, you can see it now. I'll bring some more light. Like so. So I'm going between the first and second signature with an angle like this. Change hands so you can see. Making a loop. And then I'm taking my needle, going inside the loop, making sure it is tight. And then locking the knot. Working with the bone folder. I'll show you how it is forming to be. And let's go on. While I'm working, I'm trying to think of another video to make related to the holiday season. I made one about the circle envelope. If you didn't see it, you can check it out afterwards. But I'm trying to think of an idea of something more of a box, or a simple box for presents, or something that you have, each one have in your house, or you are trying to use to give a gift to somebody. So if you have any idea, I would love to hear that right in the chat. If you have an idea for some kind of a video you would like to see related to the holiday season, and I will see. I'm trying to figure out what to do. I was thinking about how to reuse, a cardboard packaging or something like that that each one has in their house. But when I'm starting to think about simplifying it and trying not to work with glue or not to work with covering materials, and it becomes quite complex to find an idea. So if you have one, share it with me. I would love to hear. Oh, thank you, Neta. I'm glad you like the close-up. I'm trying to add different shots or camera angles, because again, when I'm filming a video, by the way, I don't know if you know that, when I'm filming a video, usually, if it's not a one of a kind, usually I actually make two copies. One when I film, like you see now, the A-roll and the overhead, and then sometimes I make another copy just to give you some special camera angles, because the book is already bound. I can't redo it. So I'm filming and I'm making another copy, because for me, I think most of the fun after making the video is to find different camera angles and different shots and make it more special. Okay, I think the cinematography is part of the art of making the videos, not just binding the books or the edit, also the camera shots. But we are a bit, now when it's live, I can give you the POV, which is, you should see what I'm looking at. It's so beautiful to see. I'll show you like this as it's forming up. So maybe I'll try to find a very small camera that I can connect to my shirt, and then you can see, but I think it would twist and move, but I'll check the possibility. That could be really great. Pamphlet notebook in a matching box. Okay. That's an idea. Maybe a box inside a box of matches. I did one of those, but this is a miniature book. It would be a problem to write inside. The thread is again a bit twisting. I'll go out and untangle it again. Again, if you're just joining me, I'm making a soft cover Coptic binding, stitching, and now the thread is twisting a bit. So if you didn't see the trick, what I do is I just throw the needle and then let the thread untangle. And I'll keep on going. I'll do a bit with the bone folder, make sure everything is aligned. Let's go on to the next signature. Nice. Keep on throwing ideas. That's great. Even if it's a different subject. You know, I have a list. I have a list of video ideas and things that you suggest. I'm writing it down and going through the list to choose what's going to be up next. Is it still a thing that every present goes inside a special box wrapped to make the how would you say it in English? The formality of opening the present. We don't have it so much, you know, opening presents in this time of year. Show you how it's turning out to be. I'm forming the chain, and then I'll go back inside. You see that I'm inside the thread. I'm going back, going out. Let's do it again. Yep, now it's okay. Nice idea. Years ago, I made a book that is called Triangles, and I made a triangular box for it also. It's kind of a folder that opens to be a triangle. Thank you, David, or Charles. Letterpress greeting card. You know that in another part of my studio, I have cabins and cabins of, called cabins? I'm not sure. Type, letterpress type so much. And I have a Vandercook and letterpress presses, and I have not reached that stage of making videos about letterpress, but this is something I would love to get into and to do, because it is also an amazing craft. The problem is I need to make a whole setup of light and camera angles and so on to allow myself to film it. But I hope to get to this. This is one of my New Year's resolutions, is to start making also videos about letterpress. Maybe at the beginning I will just bring my small Adana press. The Adana press is a tabletop press, a little bit like this one. This is a very small one, just for a small card. I have a medium size one. So maybe I'll bring a drawer of letters, Sylvia, and I'll just set some type and show you how to print. That's a very good idea for the New Year's. Thank you for that. Oh, I see a lot of ideas going on here. I'm making another kettle stitch. So let me give you the kettle stitch angle. Nice. Give you some light. It's a bit strong light, but it's okay. You can see the spine now. I love the Coptic binding, and I think the brown linen thread looks great with the cover. So what I do is I go between the previous two signatures. I'll put like this because I'm holding it like this, and I just pull the thread and make a loop. go with my needle inside the loop, and that is forming my kettle stitch. And now I'm pulling to make sure I don't have some thread inside, making sure everything is straight. I like to wrap the thread and lock the knot, and I can go on to the next one. Another idea here. Okay. I need to get holiday cards for that. But it's a nice idea, maybe to add it to a cover, some kind of recycled thing. Is there a way to bind loose pages in a way that the final book will open flat? When you use single sheets of paper, single, not folded like this, it is a problem to bind them and that the book will open completely. There are two options. One is to make creasing before the stitching of the edge of the book, and then it would stand on itself. It won't open 180 degrees, but because of the fold that you will make, after the area that is locked and stitched, you can flip the pages. They will open 180, but not, the book won't open completely. The other way is if you take a knife or you saw the edges and then glue it and insert inside threads or something like that. It is more of like what you see now as a paperback book. But then you have some kind of strain to open it completely. And if you open it too strong, usually it would break, and then you have the pages go out and you can see the decal edges of the perforation that they do in big edition of books. They make perforations to the edge of the book, to the spine, and then put hot glue on it and then connect the cover. So if you apply a lot of force, I'm sure you know that it breaks, and then you see a page coming out, and then you have a problem. Then you come to the binder. So it's a bit of a problem. You can try if the paper is thick enough, you can try and make as signature, just connect two pages together and then make them as signatures. So you start from two separate papers and then connect them together in the spine, and then actually make the loose papers into signatures. That's also an option. I do that with etching sometimes and so on. So I hope that answers your question. And from here to there, I'm in the last signature. Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you for joining and for asking. Now, what I'm going to do is go inside. You know, I'm concentrating in the work and then talking, and when I'm taking a look again, maybe the whole monologue with the papers, I was still in my B-roll, so sorry for that happened. I need to see the live afterwards to see what I did, but you have the small window, so if I did, you could still see me and I'm not talking to the air. Of course, this book is with 6 signatures, but you can go on and on as many as you want. I think the Coptic Christians made it thicker than what we're doing here. How do you present your books as gifts for friends? First of all, for me, a book without a box is not complete, so most of my books have at least a slipcase or clamshell box or so. But if I need to present a book as a book, usually I wrap it with craft paper or very thin paper that you can see the binding from underneath the cover, the gift wrap, and I cover it very nicely. Sometimes I add a card. But the reason I like to make a box to each of my books, because I like that people have some kind of a journey to have before they reach the book. It's something ceremonial, like to open a box or to slid a book outside the box. That's something that it's part of the process before you dive into the book itself. So that's why I love boxes so much. Did I go inside? Not yet. Okay, I need not to get confused here. But a nice paper wrapping for the book that you are gifting could be very special. I'll do the kettle stitch here. Pull it and close it. See, I have a problem here. I'll do one more here. And I'm going to go inside the cover. Now I'm trying to figure out if I want to close the cover or leave it as is. I'm thinking about it while sewing the last one. The focus is okay. The last one, I'm making sure it is really tight and that it is locking itself. And going inside the cover. I think this is a nice format for the students in the workshop. That's actually what I'm doing today. I'm doing a mock-up, or just one copy towards the season of workshops that I'm going to make next month. And I think this is a very nice option for a new kind of binding. I did many workshops with the Coptic binding, but with a hardcover. Don't fall down. Okay. Yes, I work with leather. I try as I can to work with recycled leather or to repurpose leather if I can. But of course I have my sketchbooks are with leather and some of my special editions of books like The Raven. And you can also make a Coptic binding with a leather cover. Let's do the last kettle stitch. I'm pulling the thread. I'll go inside. Sorry for the ambulance if you can hear it. I hope everyone is okay. I'm making a loop, going with my needle inside the loop, pulling to make sure it is okay, and locking the knot. And I'm going back inside. Now, can you see it? Yep, you can see it. Now what I'll do, I'll give it an anchor here. And lock the knot. 1 and 2 and cut. More or less here. We go on to this angle here. I think it looks great. Opens flat. Look how flat it can be open. Show it like this. Opens completely flat. Nice. What do you say? I'm trying to figure out if I want to connect the beginning or an end or to leave it as is. I think the advantage of gluing it together, it would give it a stronger cover. Like you see here, here I connected together and then it's stronger. But I feel that it can also be left as is. Maybe put a pocket inside because this is thick paper and this is very thin. Maybe to glue a piece here and to put something inside. Maybe to glue only, I'll show you like this. Maybe what I can do is glue only this and then I have a pocket over here that I can take things out. And actually maybe you can put a strip of leather or something or cloth and then connect a pencil or something. I think for now I'm going to leave it as is, and maybe I'll glue it together. Okay, if I would like to glue it together, what I would do is, first option, double-sided tape, just go all around, maybe give it an X or something, peel it and connect. And you can use just PVA white glue. Okay, you put some waste paper underneath, glue everything, and then close it. You can see it in my video when I'm closing this one. And when you're closing, after you're gluing, what I would do is open the book like this and then work with the bone folder to connect it, because if you do it like this, you have the whole book and the spine is thicker than the front side, so it would be easier to open it like this and connect. And again, the video I made 2 weeks ago about the Coptic binding, you can see there I show how I connect it, because I think to leave the option of leaving it open or to add something inside, I'm not going to glue it now, but I do have, I think, a very nice kind of a book to make for the workshop. So again, you can do different kinds of bindings. I'm bringing you to see if you joined later on in the video or not at the beginning. So first of all, you can design it wherever you want the stitching to be. Okay, this is a hardcover. You can just reuse material. This is just, you know, cinnamon cornflakes or whatever, and you can use it as a cover. You can cover it with cloth, but with a soft cover like here. This is also a hardcover. And this actually, this is part of a course I have, a class on Skillshare about how to make the Coptic binding, how to make the covers, how to make the stitching and everything. So if you want to learn every step of the way and see more of all the angles, because again, I couldn't show you my point of view, so you can go there and watch the class. So actually, I think we have ourselves a nice Coptic binding, and I think this is a good time to end the stream. So thank you for joining me and for being here. Make sure to open the notification bell. It's somewhere underneath. I don't know where you put the notification bell, but then if for some reason I go on live, you can get notified and then you won't miss the live session. So again, thank you for being here and for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. I'll have also a card for the end. Let me do it. I prepared it like so.